Hello, I'm Mark Waldron. Welcome to all of you who've completed the OATI course in Participative Training Techniques. Now you're ready to lead successful discussions at work and in your community, and I'm sure you'll find this video will be a very handy tool. Remember when you're planning your group's discussion or presentation to spend about 10% of your time telling the information, 20% showing the participants, and 70% letting them actually discuss and apply their new skills. Group discussions are more effective and people learn best when everyone is continuously involved. This video will remind you how to generate ideas using hum groups, buzz groups, and brainstorming, which are 3 terrific ways to generate ideas, and then 2 very effective ways to explore issues in greater detail, tick box discussions, and planned assessments. Just before we start, let's look at the 2 most important principles you need to use to make sure that your group discussions go really well. Number 1 is introductions. We have to get people talking to each other, and introductions help participants feel more comfortable. Introductions should include both personal and course-related information. This will help us understand what each of us wants to achieve. Let's look now as our first discussion leader, Kathy, starts the introduction process. There are many ways to do this, depending on how much time you have and whether or not the people already know each other. Kathy is asking each person to first interview their partner and then introduce them to the group. Kathy?
Good morning. My name is Kathy Lowry. I'm going to be your facilitator for this course. The reason I say facilitator is that I'm going to be leading you in a lot of discussions. You're going to be really involved. And to set that scene so that you can be comfortable and be ready to really participate in all the activities for the next 2 days, I would like you to get to know each other a bit more. Therefore, I'm going to be asking you to form groups based on the color of marker that you have. And in just a moment, I'm going to ask you to move to the walls where you see a pair of flip chart sheets, and you're going to be using those to write notes. What I would like you to interview each other on is your name and hometown, your current occupation, your expectations from this course, and to share with everybody your creativity. I'd like you to draw a picture of something that your partner did last weekend. Let's go to it. Let's get reacquainted with the whole group now, and together go to the walls and find a pair or a trio of flip chart sheets in order to record this information.
Expectations of what?
Get out of the course.
I'd like to introduce Vanda Wagner from New Hamburg. She's a 49% shareholder in Wag Home Farms. She's a mother of 4. That's probably the biggest occupation she has, and she's OATI coordinator for Waterloo. And I'm sure with my artistic skills here, you can tell what she does for hobbies. Swimming, that's right. And she's hoping to gain more confidence in speaking in public from this conference.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, Vanda. And our last pair. Ingrid, could you introduce your partner, please?
Yeah, it's my privilege today to introduce everyone to Howard Lehman. Howard resides in Milton, Ontario. He works as a consultant for the commodity marketing. He forecasts future markets, so I think we all get the inside track today on the future markets for our crops. Last weekend, Howard spent with his wife and his 3 children, 2 girls and a boy, getting all ready for their summer sports program. And during this course, Howard would like to learn a little bit more about effective speaking. So once again, I'd like to introduce everyone to Howard Lehman.
Now everyone knows who is in the group and has a good idea of what everyone would like to achieve, and they're off to a great beginning. The second key to a successful discussion is to use effective questioning. You want everyone to discover and talk about ideas and issues from their own experience. Start by identifying the result where you want the discussion to go. This could be a list of benefits or of things to avoid. Remember, there are 2 kinds of questions. Closed questions can only be answered by a yes or a no. But the best kind of questions to get discussions going are open questions. You can use the 5 W's: who, what, why, where, and when, along with how. Remember, you can still keep your discussion on track by steering or funneling your open questions. Let's watch Jim as he funnels his open questions and ends up exactly where he wants the discussion to go. Jim?
Okay, participants, someone tell me what their favorite season is.
Oh, that's a hard one.
Spring.
Spring. Okay. And another favorite season? Wendy?
I like the fall.
Okay. And yours, Vanda?
I like summer.
And what is there about summer you really like?
The warmth, the sunshine and warmth.
The warmth and sunshine. Great. If we're growing crops in southern Ontario, what sort of crops like that warmth in the summer that Vanda mentioned?
Soybeans.
Yes? Anybody else have another nice warm weather crop?
The hay definitely grows in the summer.
And another warm weather crop?
Corn.
Sure, corn likes it. Why does corn like heat? What is there about corn?
It likes to grow.
Okay, and if it likes to grow, how does it show that growth in the nice warm summer? What shows?
Large cobs.
Large cobs, which is exactly where I wanted to get to. This is known as the funneling technique. Notice how I started very broad with the topic, and narrowed it down to exactly the point I wanted to get to, using open-ended questions, mostly the 5 W and H type questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how, or as many as I could use anyway. That's an example of the funneling technique.
Here's a couple of easy coaching tips on effective questioning. Write your first question in your notes. Use open questions, and use the participants' names in your follow-up questions to make sure everyone gets a chance to speak. Now here's a little reality check. At regular intervals, take a moment to decide if you're on track. If you find that someone isn't catching on or doesn't understand, they're probably not alone. We found that it's best to go back to the concept and explain it again. Follow these simple rules, and you'll get excellent results, helping people find practical solutions to real-life problems and challenges. Now let's review the actual techniques we use to encourage participation. 3 ways to generate ideas, and 2 ways to explore issues in greater detail. As you may remember, the first way to generate ideas is a hum group, which is getting people to discuss things in pairs. The purpose of a hum group is to allow everyone to share their experience and opinions and to get them feeling comfortable. This is valuable because it lets the group generate ideas, and it also helps to develop rapport. It allows you, as the facilitator, to establish the level of the group's understanding. Using everyone's name, start by selecting the pairs. Then put a carefully worded statement up in front of the group as their work assignment. Each pair is asked to create a list of generally 3 to 5 important ideas. A hum group should take about 20 minutes. You'll probably find it's best to let the hum portion run about 5 minutes, then take another 5 minutes to get the feedback from the group, and spend the last 10 minutes in discussion. Let's watch Janet leading the hum. Janet?
As members of the Citizens Coalition for Waste Management, you're finding yourselves more and more often asked for opinion on your views on waste management. And it's becoming increasingly clear that we're going to have a spokesperson from this group to handle some of those inquiries. I think it would be helpful before any of you volunteer for the job or before we even decide what kind of a job this might be, to give some thought to what some characteristics of a good spokesperson would be. And so we're going to answer that question today, list 4 characteristics of a good spokesperson. Now, I'm going to have you work in groups, in very small groups, 2 at a time. These 2, these 2, these 2, and these 3 at the end here. And I'm going to have each of you in your groups think about the question. One of you will actually write down some of the comments or characteristics that your group comes up with, and then I'm going to have you feed that back to me, and we'll develop a list here of the characteristics of a good spokesperson. Is there anyone who's not clear on what the instructions are? Okay, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do this. That's waste management for you.
Yeah, those are great. So what would you say first? Like, I mean, what do you think is the most important?
That kind of goes hand in.
The speaker should be well presented. Dressed appropriately.
Oh, help us know your message. Oh, it's right here.
Okay, time's in. I'd like one person from each group to report to me. Ingrid, can I have your group's first characteristic?
The person has to be very confident.
Confident?
Yeah, in knowing their topics and they know what they're talking about.
Okay. Lois?
Well presented and professional.
Good. Lori?
Knowledgeable on the topic. Did you already say that, Ingrid?
Okay.
No, I think that's different.
Articulate.
And Keith, are you doing the report here?
Yeah, we thought they should be charismatic too.
Oh, good. I can spell that one.
A sense of humor?
We were going to say that.
Have we got any more?
Enthusiastic.
Now, which group had the well-presented?
That was our group.
Wendy, would you mind explaining to me what you mean by well-presented? Just so that I think I know what you mean, but I'd like you to clarify that for me.
Yes, Lois and I felt that a spokesperson for an organization should be organized and well presented and professional.
Good. Okay. And charismatic, Keith, I believe your group had this. Could you explain it to us, please?
Yes, we felt that spokesperson should be personable, have good people skills, and attractive, that sort of thing.
Good. As you can see, we've developed a fairly tall order for our spokesperson, and yet I know there will be people within this group who could fill that order very well. We're going to break for coffee, and after coffee, we're going to ask for nominations for the position of spokesperson. Please give this some thought over coffee and decide if you're willing to be one of those people that will act as the spokesperson for our group.
Thanks, Janet. Some coaching tips now. Start by looking at your list of points and asking yourself, what questions can I ask to get the discussion going? Go around the group twice or until everyone has spoken at least once. Select the most common points, discuss these points, and then summarize. You can use a hum group when people don't know each other or aren't comfortable writing, or when you need everyone's input to make collective decisions. Hum groups are commonly used to find out everyone's understanding of the topic. So now we move on to the buzz group, which gets everyone involved when you want to introduce a new topic, and it establishes how much the people in your group understand about the topic. This is a different technique from a hum group because it can generate a broader range of ideas. This allows the group to compare ideas and concepts, and it lets you get a list of key points very quickly. To begin, assign people to groups of 3. You can use playing cards or group them using different colored markers, and start with a clear, focused statement. Get the groups writing things down as they go, request a list of 3 to 5 answers, and then get them to hang their flip chart pages at the front. A buzz group should last about 40 minutes. That's 10 minutes for the buzz and 30 for the discussion. A buzz group can get pretty noisy. I noticed by the growing buzz back there that they're about to begin. Here's Kathy.
Welcome. I'm glad to see such an enthusiastic group of people out to plan the Economic Development Conference. I'm looking forward to our county hosting the best provincial conference ever. Our task tonight is to develop the conference program. Let's start by working in small groups. Could you please look at the playing card in front of you? And would everyone who has a 7 please sit here? Those with 8 here, and those with 9 here. Please move there now. I'm going to be giving you flip chart sheets, and I'd like you to write in large letters with flip chart pens your answers, and I would like you to leave about a 2-inch margin on the left side of the page when you do your writing. The topic is to list 5 conference speaker topics. Go ahead and start discussion.
Small business development. Positive motivational.
How about local business development initiatives?
As you complete your list, could you please bring them up and post them on the corkboard at the front of the room? Please call out now one set of points that are similar, and please use the letter title of the sheet and the number to do that.
A1 and B1.
Are there any others that match A1 and B1?
C5.
What 2 or 3 words would capture the ideas in those concepts?
Perhaps financial planning.
And someone from Group A, what did you mean by financial planning and investment?
Personal financial planning, like from a personal point of view versus community or business.
Someone here, what did you mean by financial budgeting?
Financial budgeting, I guess we were thinking maybe along the line of starting a small business or something, setting up lines of credit.
What other topic jumps out at you from more than one sheet?
A2 and C1.
A2
C1.
and C1. So that's how to start a business, your own, and small business management. What's the title of that group?
Small business.
Possibly A5 and C2.
That's not exactly what we were thinking of in C2. It's probably more of a motivational speaker, someone to a feel-good speaker to start the day off sort of thing.
Okay, so that's building the confidence
Of the individual person.
Okay, so we've picked 4 categories here, and we still have partnerships and time management and building confidence as other issues that some of you felt were important for this conference. So financial planning, marketing, small business, and community assessment were pretty commonly suggested topics. Thank you for your great participation in this activity. What we're going to do now is move on to think about what people we could invite to make presentations on all of the great topics you've suggested.
You'll find it useful to label the charts and number the points. When you ask the participants to identify related items, make sure they discuss these items before they identify the next grouping. You'll find buzz groups handy to either introduce or review topics, So now let's move on. Next is brainstorming, our third and last technique for generating ideas. This is a great way to identify the full width and depth of a topic, and we can use it to switch the group's focus from one topic to the next. Brainstorming allows the group to generate as many as 20 or 30 ideas very quickly, and it's a lively atmosphere that encourages everyone to join in. Our brainstorming session begins with Bill presenting the topic, in this case, the planning for the group's next annual social event. Now, here's Bill.
Well, gang, we've got some bad news and we've got some good news. The bad news is you're going to be here a few more minutes, but the good news is that we have to come up with some really good ideas for our special events this year, and we need your help. This is really important because the success of our service club depends on these special events during the year. Each of these events plays a role in giving our club these things. It gives us visibility in the community, which is very important. It makes sure that we get some new members coming in, which is important. It makes sure that the old members keep coming back, which is, you attest, is very important. And the last but not least, it raises the funds that we need to supply the social groups that need our funding. So, what I'm going to ask you to do for the next few minutes is to give us your ideas. All the ideas are good ideas. We're not going to discuss them now. We're just going to give them up. I'm going to mark them on this sheet. Try to keep them to 1 or 2 words. And if I don't catch the first word the first time, just yell it out again. So, the subject, special events. Hit it.
Fish fry.
A bazaar.
Bingo.
A picnic.
A fun run.
Good. We have some great ideas for this committee for our special events this year. Let's just take a moment. Timing is really important when we're dealing with special events and what time of the year they can be held in. I think one of the ways we can do it is to mark beside each one what season it would most suit it. So starting with this one here, quilt raffle.
Really, any season.
Any season?
So,
spring,
summer, fall.
Summer, fall, and winter. The rally race.
Spring.
Winter.
Spring.
Well, it looks like we've got some great ideas and we've got some times tacked on with them. We'll take these ideas back with the committee on the special events and report back to you next month at their next meeting and tell you what we've come up with, and we'll have some discussion at that point. Thank you so much for your help. I know that this is going to be a great year for our organization.
Everyone has to understand what you're looking for. In this case, you want 1 or 2 word contributions from everyone in the group. Keep the energy up by offering encouragement. Write quickly and clearly with your back to the group. It's non-judgmental and people will find it less threatening. Remember to insist on ideas, not discussion, at this stage. Use different colored markers to delineate separate points. A brainstorming session should last about 15 minutes. Most trainers using this technique like to keep their topic down to just 1 or 2 words, like Bill did just now. You can use brainstorming to bring out the group's creativity, and it's great for boosting energy. Be prepared for some lively action. So there we have 3 excellent ways to get everyone involved in the discussion and generating ideas for a wide range of topics. These techniques can be used for community groups, associations, or businesses. They even work well in many family circumstances where you're making decisions about living arrangements, vacations, career planning, and even household budgeting. So remember, you can hum, buzz, and brainstorm with your group to generate lots of lively discussion and tons of terrific ideas. Now we're going to remind you of the 2 techniques you can use for exploring issues, starting with a tick box discussion, which can be a very useful tool for many different organizations. The main purpose of a tick box discussion is to identify and explore people's opinions and beliefs on certain specific or even controversial issues. In this case, they'll be talking about changes to the school system. This can be a useful, non-threatening discussion technique to discover people's opinions and to find out what they believe about a specific topic. Using tick boxes helps to raise the level of understanding so the topic can then be discussed in greater detail. Tick boxes let us control and focus a discussion. Using tick boxes requires thoughtful planning and preparation. Be prepared to spend some time on the wording of the statements to stimulate discussion. Choose two distinct points of view on an important issue. For example, shortening school hours allows families more time together versus lengthening school hours allows parents to earn more money for the family. In preparing for the tick box and planned assessment techniques, write your focus statements or tick box questions well in advance and try them out with your friends and colleagues. These don't have to be opposites. Sometimes a subtle difference will contribute more to the discussion. Be prepared. Emotional responses can easily turn into a heated debate, which just may not be too useful. Remember, you're not looking for right or wrong answers. You simply want to stimulate discussion. Hand out the tick box sheet and make sure everyone understands what has to be done. You'll want to explain that each individual will work on their own. And it's a good idea to tell them this isn't a test, just a way to get the discussion going. A tick box session should take about 20 minutes. Try to allow about 5 minutes for people to make their choices. That gives you about 15 minutes for discussion. And now, here's Cora.
Good evening. It's great to see so many parents who are interested in discussing how our tax dollars are being spent on education. What we're going to do tonight is have an interesting, lively discussion, I think, on these topics. And basically, I'm going to hand out to you a page with paired statements on it. And I'd like you to read each statement carefully and make a decision as to which one most closely reflects your opinion. Now, this isn't a test, so don't worry about it. It's just a discussion-generating tool. This will take you about 5 minutes to read them and make these decisions. The odd statement or pair of statements will be very difficult to choose between, so we ask you to just make a choice anyway. There's no fence sitting aloud tonight. Any questions? Okay, let's begin. Was there any pair of statements here that you had difficulty choosing between?
All of them.
Which one would you like to start your discussion with?
The first one.
The first one? Okay. 1A, shorter, more frequent school vacations or breaks help students retain skills and knowledge learned during the school year, versus students need a long summer break from the constant pressure of structured education. Which one did you choose?
The second one.
The second one, and why?
Because in my area it is important for students that they can have summer employment.
I disagree strongly on that. I feel that you're wasting too much time over the summer. And when they come back in the fall, they got to be retrained again. They don't start learning anything new until October or November.
I totally agree with Howard, because I agree that they do spend way too much time reviewing, and they don't really, how much of a certain year do they really get filled because of all the reviewing they have to do?
Okay, so we have some strong thoughts on this particular issue. Let's look at another statement. Which statement did you find more easy to make a decision with?
Statement number 3. I chose A. Year-round schooling in Ontario would make more efficient use of buildings and staff, simply because the buildings are empty over the summer break.
Okay. Did anyone choose B? Okay.
If we did that, then people would generally have to reschedule their vacationing to coincide with the school vacations. That is the main reason that I would choose the second option.
Okay, any other opinions on this one?
I think as long as you have a period of time during the summer, maybe a week or two, that would give people enough opportunity to go away on vacation.
Okay, seems that the vacation issue is an important issue. That leaves us with question number 2. Lois, what did you choose for number 2?
I picked 2A.
Okay, by cutting education costs now, we can ensure more available funds for the future, versus cutting education spending will increase the cost of workplace training. So you picked A because?
There is so much being cut now. Education is one of the most important areas for our children.
Okay, and anyone else choose number B?
No, but I actually chose A for a different reason, because in looking at B, I don't think that we train students in school for actual jobs anyway, so I don't think B is really worthy of being checked.
Okay, Howard, you're agreeing with that?
Yeah, I think so. It sounds reasonable. I agree with it.
Okay, and any other opinions that would like to be aired before we conclude our discussion?
I think one more thing. The statement says cutting education costs now would ensure available funds for the future, but I find that education is our future, so I find that the money needs to be spent on education now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for the input to the discussion this evening. What we need to do now is consider how we can use all these points and make some recommendations for the Board of Education. Thank you for all your input.
To make sure everyone is involved, tick their names off on your sheet as you go. Ask the ones who don't speak up for their answers and make sure everyone knows that this isn't a test. So that's a successful tick box discussion. This is a particularly useful technique if you're dealing with controversial or emotional issues. Use it to explore very specific issues you want discussed. To finish off, we'll now review the key points in our second technique for exploring issues, that is, planned assessment. The purpose of a planned assessment is to help groups identify and explore the range of opinions of each component of an issue, a product, or a service. A planned assessment generates broader discussion. It's a useful tool for getting people to express their individual opinions on the importance of various features or services and items, in this case, a cellular telephone. We want people to be able to consider all the aspects before they make any decisions. A planned assessment adds valuable structure to the discussion. In preparing to use this technique, it's important that everyone understands what needs to be achieved and how much time they have to do it in. The planned assessment should last about 45 minutes. Keep your introduction to 5 minutes, the actual assessment to 20 minutes, and then you'll have another 20 minutes for discussion. So let's take a look at a planned assessment with Jim.
This afternoon, we're here to take a close look at cellular phones, understand its features, various features of cellular phones, and how to recognize what are good features and not so good features and what may suit you so that you can make intelligent purchase decisions when you get home. In order to help you do this assessment, I'm going to hand out 2 pieces of paper. One of them is a spec sheet for that telephone. The other is a score sheet, which will help you assess this. So I'll explain what I want you to do with the score sheet in a moment, as soon as you've all received one. I want you to look at your score sheets. You'll notice that down the side, there are 5 categories that will help you rate this phone or take a look at its various aspects. Across the top is a place for you to put a score in. I want you to do that, 1 being poor, 10 being excellent. And there's a place beside for comments. Those are important because we're going to discuss the reasons why you rated it a certain way later. So, if you could all come around this table, bring your score sheets and something to write on, and spend the next few moments taking a look at this phone, handling it, investigating it so you can make intelligent decisions on the scores.
That's great, you know, the 2 different batteries. But then you have a spare battery as well. Yeah. Recharge parts and labor, and then 90-day exchange. Yeah, it's easy to flip open. Yeah. It's comfortable. It's a good length of the cord. Oh, okay. Yeah, because you can exchange it. That's very good, isn't it?
When you have completed your score sheet, please take it over and record the scores directly underneath your name over on the wall chart. And when you're done with that, then resume your seats and we'll have a discussion on what you found. Okay, group, we're going to take a look at what you saw here and have some discussion on the various points. I see that Howard rated this category of size very highly. Howard, tell me why you rated it a 10.
I think the mobility of it, like it's obviously you can flip it into your pocket, carry it very easily. It's not some big clunky thing you're going to be having to carry around in a suitcase.
Okay, thanks, Howard. I see that Darcy didn't rate it as high. In fact, rated it as a 6. Darcy, what was your view on the size of the cell phone?
It just felt big in my hand. I guess I'm used to a conventional phone, and it did not feel as comfortable as.
And why would that be a problem for you in your use?
I guess I assume anybody who's using this driving along the road, and
so it's simply too bulky.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to price. I see that that Keith rated it a 10. Keith, what is your opinion on price?
Well, I thought it was very reasonably priced at under $100. That's when cell phones first came out, I remember there were $2,000 or more. So to be able to buy a cell phone for under $100, I thought was exceptional value.
Okay, thanks, Keith. So you thought it was good value.
Yep.
And Howard, I see you rated this a 3. Can you tell me why you rated it a 3? What was your view on price?
Well, everything's relative. I agree that it sounds like an incredible bargain at only less than $100, and it does seem like good price, good value for that money. But I know you can get other cellular phones that as part of the package deal that you get, you don't have to pay anything for it at all. So 0 versus 100, 0 is always going to win.
Great. Let's move on to other features, and this is a fairly broad subject. So I see that that Lois, you rated it an 8. Tell me about the other features and why you rated it.
Well, I thought there were many features. The numbers were easy to press. The cord, it stretches nicely. You could use it inside or outside the vehicle.
So that's the end of the discussion. So hopefully, in fact, I'm sure you'll be able to take this information home and make intelligent purchase decisions in your own business. So thanks very much.
A few tips on planned assessments. Collect the scores as quickly as possible. Use the extreme scores to stimulate the discussion. Don't criticize anybody's ideas. Get 3 or 4 comments for each point and then summarize with a link to the next activity. You can use a planned assessment to evaluate a product or service, provide focus to field trips, and prepare everyone for an informed discussion. So those are your 2 techniques for exploring issues, the tick box discussions and planned assessments. Now for a quick review of these participative techniques. Use introductions to get off to a good start. Keep everyone involved and on track with effective questioning. Generate ideas with hum groups, buzz groups, and brainstorming. And explore issues with tick boxes and planned assessments.
As promised, the time has arrived, and it's time to finish off this course. On behalf of the other facilitators, I'd like to thank you very much for your participation, enthusiasm the last 2 days. Really appreciated that. It made the course what it is. So, have a good trip home, and we'll look forward to seeing you other days doing other things.
We hope this has reminded you of what you learned at the OATI course and added some practical ideas. Feel free to experiment and adapt them to your own style and the needs of your group. As a group leader or facilitator, you do have a very important job. Use these techniques and you'll make that job even more effective and enjoyable for you and your colleagues. So from all our facilitators and participants here today, thanks for watching and good luck. If you need further help or you'd like some more advanced training, feel free to call the Ontario Agricultural Training Institute at 1-800-ONT-OATI. You should also feel free to make use of the OATI library.